What's up guys, Luke here with True Southern TV, and today we're talking tourniquets. And not just any tourniquets, but the SnakeStaff ETQ tourniquets. Now, if you've been following us, you've seen our videos from SHOT Show where we briefly talked about these and got to see them while at their booth. Well, I did the right thing and came home and ordered a bunch of them. And now we're gonna test them to make sure they're good, and we're gonna talk about some basic tourniquet stuff. Let's get it. All right, now to start with, what I'm gonna be comparing the two ETQs with today is gonna be the Cat6. Now, this is a industry standard tourniquet. In fact, you're gonna see most anybody that knows anything about medical, if they're gonna carry tourniquets, this is what they're gonna carry. And I've got no problems with these at all. We could dive into points where they possibly could fail, but you can do that with any device anywhere. And so, what instead we're going to talk about is the way that it's made and how that compares next to the ETQs. Now, let me tell you what I love about the ETQs. The size. Everybody wraps these back up a little bit differently. Some people like the red tab showing so they can just grab that. Some people can like to open it like this and then grab. So I've got it down to almost this, what is the smallest and most compact size that I feel like is still going to fit in a couple of my carriers and still isn't a terrible size. And it's not bad. In fact, I didn't know, it's one of those things like if you don't know it's broke, don't fix it. Is that right? At home, it's if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if it's broke, we also don't fix it. I don't know. My wife can clear that up for you. You know, I never thought about it until I saw the ETQ and actually saw it at range day. And they have two different versions. They have what they call their wide and their regular ETQ. Now, when I saw the regular ETQ, my brain immediately went to the terrible R word, rats. Now, if you don't know what Rats is, do a little bit of research. Rats is a tourniquet company that is absolutely horrendous. The only good thing they're for, you can use them for like shoelaces. You could also like bungee some stuff together. However, I did that and it actually broke. Just completely ineffective tourniquet altogether. Please never, ever, ever buy a Rats. Here's the problem with Rats is they actually hired a bunch of different companies to write really good reviews for them. They actually made some of their own companies to even write reviews that looked like medical journal type stuff, so that it's a mess. We're not going to get into it because I'm not looking for a war with them because it wouldn't be good for them. But, you know, what we're looking for here is, you know, something that is comparable to the Cat6. And so when I saw this, I thought, man, that is awful skinny. I don't love the thickness, or the width, I should say, of this tourniquet. Now, we're going to get to that in a second because you're going to be wildly surprised by something that I found out that I've never paid close attention to. And, you know, unless you've torn apart a tourniquet, you may not have either. So let's talk about what I do love here. These two tourniquets, number one, if we talk about size-wise, if we put them up next to the Cat6, considerably smaller. See if I can hold all three up here. Considerably smaller. Thickness is obviously significantly thinner. And then width, their wide is actually the same width as the full Cat6 tourniquet. Now, another thing that I love about this, their windlass is a little bit smaller. I didn't know how I would feel about that. Actually, in my hands, I don't mind it at all. And then they've got chem lights here on the side, which could be cool. You know, just a little feature, not anything that really makes or breaks these tourniquets. Now, why I like these smaller tourniquets when we talk about this is there's a lot of times that people don't carry stuff just because it's bulky, right? We hear it all the time when we, even firearms, like they want the smallest little pea shooter they can possibly get, when in reality that may not help them in the situation they're going to be in. Tourniquets are kind of the same. I feel like everyone should carry tourniquets, and it's amazing how many people don't have tourniquets. In fact, I go through TSA all the time, and I get stopped at TSA by TSA agents, and they're like, what is this? Can you fly with this? Is that a weapon? Bro, you are sitting in what could possibly be one of the highest danger zones in America if something were to go wrong, and you don't know what a tourniquet is or how this could save somebody else's life. Don't get me started into why we should be teaching our kids to use these, unfortunately, or anywhere else. We live in a sick world, and that sucks. But it is the nature of the beast, and I think that everyone should know how to use one. So if you don't, please stick around for this video because this is very important. And when you get done, YouTube lots of other videos. Really get to know one and find one that you want to order and get it in your hands and then practice with it. I'm going to tell you, they are sometimes complicated to use, and I'll tell you why. Is because if you have to use one, then you're going to have to hurt someone. And what I mean by that is You know, I'll tell you a story briefly that happened not long ago. We were on the interstate with the fire department that I was with, and we had a vehicle come straight through our scene, hit a truck up front, bounce off another car, got broken up, hit one of our firefighters. I came around the truck. It was him and I was able to get behind another truck. Unfortunately, he was trapped. When I came around the front of the truck, he was laying on the ground. I couldn't see what was wrong with him. At that point, he was just yelling at the troopers because the interstate shouldn't have been open. That's another story. But when I was able to get to him and find him, it had cut off almost all of his leg. He was in real bad shape. And so went back to get a tourniquet, came back and put it on. And this is what I mean when I say it's going to hurt someone, is what I always tell a victim, and I've applied several tourniquets in my life, is I have to hurt you to help you. These do not feel good going on. You have to think you're putting this on to stop someone's blood flow, and that takes a lot of pressure, but that also means that you need to have good gear that can withstand and that can do good work. The reason that we don't like smaller tourniquets as far as width-wise, and why this one set me off to begin with, but now I'm actually really, really open to this. And again, you'll see why in a second, because I'm going to show you firsthand. But is because anything smaller than this, you're going to start to have some nerve damage. You could start to cause some problems. You might not be able to actually stop the blood flow. Another thing is, if you're needing to use two hands, you know, that may not be possible depending on if you're putting it on yourself or what the circumstances are around you. And these you can easily put on with a single hand. So, all in all, these are the three that we're looking at today. I love my Cat6. I'm not going to down my Cat6 because they are good tourniquets. But if we can get an option, a product that works as well as the Cat6, and that is smaller so that more people will carry it with them, so that there's more people out there that can save lives, then I'm 100% supporter of it. I ordered 8 of these, 4 of the wide, 4 of the smaller ones, and I've got them in all my bags at this point. This is easy enough to throw literally for you guys, like in your sock, underneath your boot, in your pockets, in your go bags, ladies, in your purses. These are so small you don't even notice they're there. So that's what I love about them. But here's the question: why is this just as good as this? Well, I'm going to use an example to show you. Here's my old friend, the foam roller. Luke, what do we need a foam roller for? It's a good question. I'm so glad you asked, Internet. What we're going to do here in just a minute, we're going to take all 3 of these, and we're going to put them on the foam roller, and we're going to let them sit for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, but at least an hour. Enough that it's going to give an indentation on here, and we can see what the actual indentation lines look like for all 3 of these tourniquets. You're going to be surprised. Should I spoil it for you? No, we won't spoil it yet. But this also gives us an opportunity to put these on here, tighten them down, and see how it feels. Make sure we don't have any issues with the ETQ, because that's what we're testing here today. The Cat6 is here to kind of test against it because this is the industry standard. We're testing these. There's what feels like 1,000 new tourniquets that come out every year. And so these are the first ones that I've ever felt comfortable enough to put in my bags. And I've already done this test with them because I also wanted to know, and I didn't have time to shoot this video as soon as they came in, but I wanted to carry them. I wanted to use them. So I did this test myself already, and it kind of blew my mind. And so let's go ahead, let's get this set up, and then after the test, we're going to talk about why this is actually no different than this. Perceptions are not always reality. Let's wrap it up. That sounded weird. You get it. All right, so we actually ended up letting our tourniquet sit overnight because, well, I didn't want to finish the video last night. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and start taking these back off, and we're going to look at the indentation marks. And I think you're going to be surprised by what you're about to see, unless you know tourniquets thoroughly well, which I thought I did, but I never, I guess, paid close enough attention in this scenario to understand. So we're going to start at the very bottom and work our way up. So starting with our ETQ wide, we've got the narrow, we've got the Cat6, and then we've got the wide. So we're going to do the wide first. So the wide, which is going to be hard to tell on camera, you're just going to have to trust me, but the wide I'm actually showing a full 1.5 inch indentation. Now, even though the Cat6 is 1.5 inches wide, looking at the indentation here, the indentation is actually only 1 inch. I'll show you why here in a second. So when we look at the ETQ, the smaller one, and we're like, that's really small, I really like the larger 1.5 inch of the Cat6. Well, when we look at the indentation of the ETQ, it is also 1 inch. It's actually the same as the Cat6. So that has been debunked. So if we're wondering why this smaller tourniquet is showing the same width as your Cat6, which is obviously a much wider tourniquet, well, the answer is actually more simple than we realize if you pay attention. If we line this back out and spread this out, you've got your webbing here that goes inside of your straps. And so this webbing on a Cat6 actually goes all the way around through the strap. So when you're tightening this, you're not tightening the strap, but you're rather tightening the webbing inside of the strap. That webbing is only 1 inch. Now, if we look at the ETQ, the narrower version, and we look at how it's built, the webbing on this actually connects around the back here, and then it connects straight to your Velcro webbing. So your main strap that goes all the way around. And that's what your windlass is attached to. If we're looking for a reason to get our gear bag a little bit smaller, these are awesome, and they come in at the same price. Your small ETQs are $32, these are $34. Now I tell you, they sell out fast. So you need to follow them on Facebook and Instagram or all the places that they post and watch for when they're actually gonna go live and when they're gonna restock. I was able to get 8 of them, 4 of the small, 4 of the larger ones, but I know a lot of people couldn't get their hands on them. So make sure you're watching, and you need to go the moment that they get them back in stock. That's when you need to order, every time, if you want to get them in hand. I would suggest getting one, making sure you like it, making sure it works for you. Doing some tests on it. A foam roller is a great thing to use for these kind of tests if you don't have anything else. And overall, I'm happy with the build quality. I don't feel like I have any failure points in these. I would not be scared to use one of these in a live situation right now, which is great because there's not any other tourniquets that I've really felt that way about outside of the Cat6. Remember, at the end of the day, as long as you're not using a rat's tourniquet, you're doing great. Those are only to be used for bungees, and they still are probably going to break. All right, guys, I'd love to know what you think about the ETQs, if you've had them in hand, or, you know, maybe you have a different tourniquet that you like to use, or any tourniquet tips. Go ahead and share those all in the comments below. We're all here together, learning together, and trying to educate more and more people about life-saving techniques. This is not a tactical thing. This is not a weird, you have to have these if you shoot guns things. This is not just for one side of the political aisle. This is for anyone that lives in the world, in a very scary world that we live in today. Everyone should know how to use this. You can save a lot of lives by having these on you in a bad case scenario. All right, that's all I got. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We can't keep doing this without your support, and we love you for it. Thank you so much. And make sure you drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Until next time, love you guys. See you later.